MAGA has invented a boogeyman called the Trans Strawman. This article is from the Fair Observer today. Let me just read a second of this and then we can talk about it. Make America Great Again. Aligned media and politicians exploit a trans straw man, portraying trans people as violent or manipulative despite evidence showing they're overwhelmingly victims, not perpetrators of violence. This scapegoating amplifies fear, justifies discriminatory policies, and distracts from real societal threats like far-right radicalization. The rhetoric endangers trans lives while undermining truth and democratic accountability. When alt-right YouTuber Charlie Kirk was assassinated during a speaking event at Utah University on September 10th, MAGA politicians, conservative influencers, and Donald Trump himself leapt to immediately frame the shooter as trans based on rumors that the ammunition was engraved with transgender and anti-fascist ideology. A claim amplified across MAGA-aligned media despite law enforcement caution that this information was not verified. Turns out those engravings were video game references, had nothing to do with trans identity. And the word unverified is very important because this investigation was botched and full of false information from the very beginning. Contrast that with the June assassination of Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman, which failed to gain as much press coverage from the GOP or the Democrats. While Kirk is getting flags flown at half-mast, Democratic Hortman's death received zero attention. There is now an obvious pattern. In late August 2025, the tragic Minneapolis church shooting became yet another political flashpoint in an already crowded news roster of politically motivated shootings. Despite few confirmed facts, right-wing figures like Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene seized on the shooter's supposed trans identity. She said, if trans people are willing to destroy themselves and how God made them, then they are willing to destroy others. Far-right provocateurs like Laura Loomer called for banning trans children from schools. This is disgusting. President Trump declared that the Department of Justice would look into banning trans persons from owning guns, a move which unexpectedly rallied the NRA to defend trans gun ownership rights. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey condemned hatred being directed at the trans community despite calls for trans exclusion from some of America's most powerful politicians. But one key fact is always ignored. Trans individuals have only accounted for 0.1% of mass shooters, a statistically negligible fraction, meaning literally almost no one. So what is the trans straw man? A straw man fallacy is a common rhetorical tactic. In short, it's a purposeful misrepresentation of your opponent's position, turning their claims into weaker, distorted versions that are easier to attack. Instead of engaging with the real argument, they argue against a made-up straw man. A straw man is not about persuasion through reason or evidence. It is about creating a caricature of an opponent that never existed, then claiming victory after tearing it down. Straw men give the illusion of argumentative victory while sidestepping the harder work of grappling with facts, nuance, and the lived realities of the people being discussed. Those people being trans people. I have discussed a lot of this stuff recently. There are major missing news stories from trans people about how Republicans' delusions are affecting us. In MAGA's narrative, transness is malleable. It opportunistically becomes whatever fits the moment. For example, trans people are simultaneously portrayed by MAGA as Innocent, gullible children in need of urgent adult guidance. Devious manipulators infiltrating politics, schools, and airlines. This is insane. Weak, un-American pacifists. Predatory, nihilistic, violent extremists, even though trans Americans are over 4 times more likely than cisgender people to be the victim of a violent crime. And there's not a single trans person identified in the Epstein files. So to MAGA, the contradictions and hypocrisy don't matter. What matters is that trans becomes a floating scapegoat, easily refashioned to fit whatever social evil the right needs to demonize at the moment. So this is exactly why in 2026, we need to elect blue candidates all over the country. We've already seen this happen in 2025, but it is crucial in 2026 to combat the delusions, reckless decisions, and endangerment of hundreds of thousands of trans Americans. These people have to be held accountable for the lies, the disinformation, and the harm to their fellow Americans. Personally, every trans person I know, that is the ones that are still alive, have been bullied endlessly, assaulted, raped, violated in some way by a delusional Republican white supremacist, including me. But especially my Black and brown trans family. They're the most at risk. Republicans are projecting their own corruption onto the trans community for decades. We have been oppressed, bullied, attacked, and some of us murdered by these uneducated Republicans. They don't care if their lies hurt or kill people. The Republican Party is officially now anti-constitutional and anti-American values. 2026 must see accountability for these con men. Disinformation, in the end, affects everyone. Gun violence affects everyone. And the longer we go without addressing these issues, the longer trans people will be scapegoated and attacked. Thank you guys for listening. Please like this, share this to get this stuff out there. Leave your comments, and I'll be back very soon.